My name is Kate Egelhoff. I am the education specialist here at Harmony Co-op, and this is Angie Ness, our fantastic instructor. Let me know if you have problems hearing us or anything. We are recording, so we can watch later. Feel free to follow along if you want. Otherwise, just have fun and watch. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, take it away, Angie.
Hi there. My name is Angie Ness. I'll be doing the fortune cookie tonight. If you have any technical difficulties right now, let's resolve that. If you have any questions for Kate, hearing, visual, anything like that, or how to mute yourself. This is going to be a quick one. It's going to be a very quick technique. I have to kind of talk out loud here because the our oven vent is going. So if you can't hear me or anything, just let me know. We have to keep that on just because we're baking here today. So anyway, my name is Angie Ness, and fortune cookie. It's going to be really fun. Are you guys following me on any of this right now, or are you all just watching? Is anyone following me right now with ingredients and everything?
Just watching.
Okay, good. I highly suggest you watch first, just because there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's one of those super easy, but kind of fast, and you kind of, it's just like making pancakes, like Kate said, you'll destroy a couple. You know, you have to make sure your oven's on the right setting, and it's, there's a couple of techniques, and like I said, you will definitely fail the first couple of times, I guarantee you. I actually came here early just to test the oven because this is not my oven, and it's a commercial oven, and so it gets a little bit hotter, and it gets it's not what I'm familiar with at home, and so that's something that you will have to test out for yourself and know your oven. So what I'll go through is if you guys have the instructions, this is what you got at Kate's. I'm going to be adding a lot more. So if you can take notes, I highly recommend that. So let's go. I'm going to go through the ingredients and all of my tools here, so then we can be very ready. Like I said, it's going to be one of those fast, and there's a lot of lull time in between, but then fast again. You'll see. So for our ingredients, very simple. 2 eggs, 2 egg whites. Highly recommend having that room temperature. So I've had mine sitting here in my bowl this whole time already. Half a cup all-purpose flour, 4 tablespoons sugar. We're using raw turbino cane sugar. You can use just the white sugar. I don't recommend any honey or any agave or anything liquid like that, because this is definitely to the specific of the amount of your ingredients and you know, the dry and wet ingredients. 2 tablespoons water, 1 teaspoon almond extract, and half a teaspoon vanilla extract. Now, if you don't have almond extract, you can use vanilla extract. Just go ahead and double that, or use it for the same amount of almond extract. Option, if you wanted to decorate it later on, we can go over that later. Melted chocolate, black and white sesame seeds, sprinkles, things like that. Now, your kitchen items, very important that you have it set up before you even do anything, just because, like I said, this is so quick. So you need your bowl and whisk. Nothing fancy here. So got your measuring cups, couple of spoons, measuring spoon. We're working with 2 cookie sheets here, so then I can just, like, you know, set one up, and then while I'm waiting, I'll set up another one, so it's kind of a constant. And you'll need your parchment paper, or if you have one of those silicone mats, those are really handy too, but if you have 2 of them, that's great. If not, then use the parchment paper, and you have 2 of the cookie sheets. This is kind of big, it's the commercial kind, but you have your home one, and it's easier to manage. I might be fumbling here a little bit because it's just, all of this is just large. Not like at home where everything is just, you know, normal. So your cookie spatula, or anything like this that's got a nice sharp kind of edge. And she's got one, they have one of these baking scraper too, that works out. If you have one of those metal ones, that will be good too. Just you don't want it to scrape off too much or rip the paper. You'll see. This is the muffin tin. You'll need this to form your, to keep the cookies shape in place, and it will dry in there. Your mug, you'll need a mug. This is where you're going to be folding your cookie. So have this all here. Cookie wrap, you know, in case you want to keep going and you have more and you want it to dry. Plastic gloves are optional. The plastic gloves is what I'm saying. It gets really hot. Your cookies are going to get hot and you have to work fast, so you don't want it to burn. So if you can't tolerate hot on your finger, I recommend using some kind of glove or have somebody help out. I don't really recommend having a child or a young person help out in this. There's going to be a lot of hot cookie sheets and a lot of hot cookies. So you'll see. It'll be really fast because the fortune cookies, you got to work fast to fold them or else they'll crack. There's like a fine line between having it crack and undone in the oven and then overdone to where they're going to start cracking. So have all this ready and have your written type fortune. We used 4" by ½ paper. So I have all of that here already in a bowl. So I'm just like ready. So my whole production line here is going to be ready. I folded it just because sometimes I don't know how perfect my circle is going to be, and they tend to stick out and then they fall. So if you want to just cut them, or fold them in half, that'll be even better. And have a lot of them. There's a lot of website out there that has a lot of templates for them, or you can write your own specialty ones. And that's the fun thing about these fortune cookies. They can be, you know, at different occasions. They can be for, you know, baby showers to weddings to just gags. So they're really fun. So print these out before you start doing anything. So they're nice and ready here. Because you do have to, there's a lot of time to do this, but when you start doing the cookies, it's really going to go fast. So you want everything to be ready, and I suggest doing 2 at a time. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and go with our ingredients here. So we just want the whites. Whoops, scoop that out. And take out the eggshells if they happen to fall up in there. You want a nice batter. Somebody's not muted if on your monitor there. I can hear something going on, if you don't mind. All right, so here's we have 2 egg whites, and we're gonna have 4 tablespoons of your sugar. Then we're going to have the extracts here. So the almond extract, it really makes a difference, the taste of this with the extract and the liquid consistency to mix it all. And then, so with the almond and the vanilla, if you didn't have the almond, that's okay too. The vanilla will be a little bit stronger, but that's okay too. It'll taste really good. So half of this, ½ teaspoon. Or if you like more vanilla and less almond, you could interchange that. You'll see from the when you start tasting it. So I'm just gonna whisk this till it's frothy and mixed really good. You don't really need any special equipment to do this. You don't need any mixers or anything. Just do it by hand because it's such a small amount. This is probably going to give you about, I think, I wrote it down on here. It gives you about 16 cookies. It all depends on how big you make your cookies. So we're going for about a 4-inch diameter circle. It's going to be harder to do anything bigger than that, just to work on. And plus your timing is going to get a little bit off too. So that's just kind of frothy. You don't want to work it too much. Then we're going to put in half cup flour. And we are just going to mix that and incorporate it. And you don't want to overbeat it or anything. You just want to make sure all of the flour gets mixed in there. You don't want to release too much of the gluten in the flour. It can become very cakey very quickly. Okay, and then I'm going to put some water in here just to dilute it a little bit, so about 2 tablespoons. And then go ahead and mix it one at a time, so it's really mixed in there. This is going to be my same mug for holding my cookies, so it's all in there. All right, so it's pretty thin. It's runny. It has to be that way because it's going to be very thin. So I've had my oven going 375 to 400. It really all depends on your oven. So I started at 375 and let that preheat and maybe give it another extra 10 minutes just to really make sure it's 375. If you don't have a thermostat in there, just give it a little bit more time because I know the first ones I always bake, they always come out uncooked, just a little bit, uncooked there. And then, by the second run, I have brown, kind of crust on the ends of it. So it all depends. Now, like I said, all ovens are not going to be the same. This one we had to bump up a little bit too. So you'll have to watch it. Like I said, you're going to make some fumbles here after a while. So take your 1 teaspoon, metal or plastic, and just take 2. Dabs here. And then what you're going to do is use the back of it. Can y'all see me? Just swirl it like that, just like you would do for like pizza sauce. And so my circles are about 4 inches there-ish. Now I'm going to do 4 just for the duration of the class, but I suggest you do 2 at a time first. I know it seems like a lot of heat for 2 little cookies, but it goes really fast. And the cookies, it's about 7 to 8 minutes each. So by the time one is in there, you're already trying to get the other one ready, the other cookie sheet. That's why I was saying get 2 at a time. And so it's not going to be like perfect. You don't have to scrape it or anything. Just tap it and make your circle. Now, if you really want it perfect, you can draw a circle on these parchment paper. If you want it to be exact, you can do it that way. If you're going to have, once you start getting good at this and you want some really nice fortune cookies for a party or something, and you want them perfect, then you can make circles out of, use a pencil, not a pen. I don't even think they have cooking utensils. But so just kind of eyeball that. So that's my 4. Now it'll have like little lumps and everything, but that'll all just kind of even out once you put it in the hot oven. So we are gonna put this in and set our timer to we're gonna go 8, but I'm gonna peek at it at 6. Why don't you put 6 first, and then we'll peek at it and add 8. So that's kind of how I do it at home too. And then by then, like I said, you'll know with your own oven. So now I got my second one, and things are going to be super hot when you start pulling these sheet pans out. I didn't make that big enough. Okay. So this pan is kind of hot right now since I pulled it out earlier. All right, so I'm going to do another one here. You guys with me so far? Good. So I got my 2 here. Now, when this starts getting hot, you know, you got to really be careful of your arms and your tools. It gets a little hairy, and you don't want people around you too much. So I'm going to use this scraper to hold down my parchment paper, because it will move. That's why that silicone is really neat to have in your kitchen. Those are just another gadget, but I think it helps out a lot. Then you don't have to use all these parchment paper and throw out. I mean, they are biodegradable, but still. So I'm going to do 4. Like I said, you can do 2 at in the beginning, and then whatever your comfort level is. And you just kind of make sure they are even. That's the key. Evenness in the circles that you make. And try to do it at 1 teaspoon, 2 of them. 1 tablespoon is just way too much. And it just gets really cakey. And this will sit for a little bit, so it'll even out, because the batter will kind of run on its course here and spread itself out. So just like that. I mean, this is kind of a practice too in itself. And I like to just use these tablespoon spoons, because it's got that bottom that's nice and round. So I got my 4 here. This one here kind of needs a little bit there. So, all right, so we're ready for that one. So now I probably have, what, 6 minutes or 5 minutes left?
Yep, you've got 3 minutes left.
3 minutes, okay. So let me just go over a couple of things. So if you could see here, this is what it came out to be. This is too burnt. So I did have some mishap here just because I'm going through the oven and I can see that this is just way too burnt. And we have to work fast because they just like crack and like this is done. You can't even fold that anymore. You see that? But you can still eat this. This is still yummy. So don't throw it out. Somebody is going to eat that, or you will, or somebody will. But anyway, like I was saying, you want some little brown to it, but not all the way. So this is the sample of a burnt batch. Now I have a couple of varieties here that it was in kind of timing here where this one here, see how that is so gummy and cakey? It was my batter was too much. So you will definitely have a feel for it. See, it's not setting. I mean, it doesn't work that way. See, this is the muffin, the tin muffin. So you're going to be putting it in here, and that's going to keep its shape. And so this is kind of what some good ones, better ones, came out to be. Just like that. And we'll go over how I did all of this. We're gonna go check that out.
Okay, got 1 minute left.
Not quite, the circle, the edges doesn't have quite the browning yet that I want. And so I'm just gonna leave it for, so that was at 6 minutes that we set. So maybe about 7 and 8 is actually the right time for this. So, but we did have to just check that just to see. So with some of the other ones that I did just for a test, these are still kind of not dry yet. You can kind of see they're kind of flexy. They're still needing a little bit of to dry out. So it's one of those, it takes a little bit of a practice to get that really crunchiness. And if you're used to Chinese restaurants and you get the nice fortune cookie and they're brown, okay, so those are all mechanical made, factory made. And so it's not gonna be brown like that. I tried using brown sugar just because I thought, hey, brown, it's gonna turn brown, but it just didn't work with the chemistry of it all in the batter. So the white, the white sugar definitely has to be what you need.
That was 6 minutes.
That was 6 minutes. I'm gonna give it 1 more minute. Going back to this. So get your tin ready. And once you fill your, a lot of people have the, this size of a tin pan. Once you're full of this, you put it on the rack. And this is when you have all that time to do these things. Clean up, things like that. So let's go back to this one here. So it is still gummy. See that? It's not kind of that crunch to it. Now there's another way to fix that too. I've tried different batters. I've tried it with butter. There's so many different varieties of ingredients out there, and I've kind of tried a lot of them. I've tried it with the butter one, and then I've tried it with oils and all sorts of different things. Play around with that. Check to see which one you like. I like this one just because it's not so cakey, that you can get pretty, thick on some of these, and then especially if you're not ready to tackle this yet. All right, so here's that, and Kate's gonna be putting in the other one. So super hot, right? So super hot. So this one here, I gotta work fast. So I got my tools. I'm just gonna scrape that off, and it'll scrape off pretty easily. You just want to make sure you don't touch the pan. It is like really super hot because remember, we're talking 400 here. So you got that side. Now you just pick it up, put your fortune in there, and then it's the side that's the top part of your batter. And then you guys can see this, you just fold it, okay? You see that? You fold it into the cup, you use the rim of it, edge of it. And like I said, you gotta work fast here since these things, pinch the top, and then use your cup, that. And you want the smooth side. That. Okay, so now listen to this one here, or look at it. My paper kind of got too big, and you can open it. You can open it too and fold it in, but it does get kind of, then it's kind of sticking out, which, it's not a big deal. You kind of still want a little bit more brown in the edges of this, if you can see that. So this will keep the shape of these cookies until you have a bunch here. You can transfer it into a cookie rack. Now you just got to make sure that it is very dry at that point. So remember, super hot, right? Now I'm gonna flip my parchment paper because as you can see, it's starting to get moist, you know? That's why the silicone is better for something like this. You'll have these wrinkles on your cookies when you do use the parchment paper, but you'll use the side top side. So I'm gonna do some more here. So now, very hot, right? I'm gonna use my bowl. My bowl and whatever else you can kind of grab to do your swirls here. Okay. So kind of have a circle already on the parchment paper, kind of established, but it will start getting wrinkled and moist. So you may want to, you know, halfway change your paper. I don't want too much on my spoon here. And yeah, just like spreading the pizza sauce. Yeah, you'll come up with your methods once you do a couple of these. And like I said, you will, some of these are getting gummy, or I don't want to say gummy, but more like it's not drying as much. That's because it's not cooked long enough. There's a fine line between having it cooked, overcooked, and having it not cooked. So you'll have to determine that with your own oven, and then with the size of the circle. I've seen so many people on YouTube and on the internet, they make it look so perfect, and like, how did they do that? And you know, you have to do it a couple of times. The good thing about this batter is that it's very inexpensive to use. I just need a little bit more in this one. It's very inexpensive. It's 2 egg yolks you can use, or egg whites, and the egg yolks you can use for something else, scrambled eggs or whatever. Flour, sugar, all the stuff you have in your pantry already. So what's our time? We have 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. And then, was that at 6 or at 8?
That was at 7.
7. Okay. So yeah, so now we're kind of playing around with the temperature. So like you'll go through the first 4, kind of a trial. But like I said, don't waste these. You can still eat them. The longer they sit, the longer or the drier they'll get. So let's go back to some of these. So now this is just kind of sitting and we're waiting. So I mean, right now you can do cleaning, whatever. You can be writing some more fortunes if you wanted to. That was another thing too with the fortunes. You can write them and have it more personal, which is kind of fun too. If you're gonna have anniversaries or things like that, where you want it as a gift. So yeah, these are the ones that are, you kind of want to separate them too, and make sure have some kind of airflow to them when you take them off the tin. So a rack would be a good idea. I just don't have one here right now, but these are drying pretty good. And so what you can tell here is when it gets too burnt and I didn't work fast enough, see how it starts cracking on the ends? You can see that, something like that, it starts to crack. So like I said, there's a fine line to the time, the temperature, your thickness of your batter. Oh, we do have a rack here, so we'll put that on there. But something like this is good. You got your shape. You got a little bit of cracking, but not too bad. A little bit of browning on the ends, not too bad, and it's keeping its form. these cookies do last for a while. I mean, you'll eat them so fast anyway, but I've been making a lot of them just for the practicing and also just trying to make sure the heat and temperature is correct with some, different ovens. And so I've had them sit on the counter. Don't put them in anything that's too enclosed. Don't put them in the refrigerator. You want something dry. You want the air to be dry when you keep them. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we have. So like I said, quick here again. What's that, 7 minutes?
7 minutes.
7?
Yep.
Let's put it in 1 more minute.
All right.
Put it all the way in there, inside, yeah, all the way in. Okay, push it in, yep.
Thank you.
And that was like the middle rack of the oven. And at home too, I do it in the middle of the. You don't really want to do like stack them too. First of all, it's not going to get that distribution of heat, and second of all, you're not going to get that much. You're not going to be too fast to do that unless you have someone with you. But like I said, it's all about distribution of heat in the oven. We're already kind of playing around with all of these elements, so. Another thing, once these are really super hard and you're satisfied with them, that's when you can start doing the chocolate dips, strawberries or any things like that where it's kind of a little bit of extra. That's why I kind of like to have my fortune cookie fortunes kind of folded and inside really nice and tucked in there. So then if I was gonna put some kind of chocolate or anything, it's not gonna spill in there. So those are a whole nother technique too. And just today we're just gonna be making the basic. So, so we're gonna see where we're at. So I got this one ready. And we're just gonna swap here. And she's gonna put the timer on. Super hot, remember, I'm just gonna put my, I think the good timing was about 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of established 8 minutes, and look how far we're at. We're like almost at our end of batter here. So scrape your cookies here. Okay. So this is the side that you want, because look at that, how it's wrinkly and kind of uneven. So it's really hot. You could I could see it steaming still. Got my fortune here, and then I'm bending it. It's starting to crack already, so I gotta work faster. Stop talking. Here we go. I'm running out of muffin tin, but we can. Here, I'll move this one. That kind of has form already. Yeah, 2 muffin tins too would be good, or as many as you want, depending on how many cookies you're gonna make. So as you can see, it's already starting to crack. So that's how sensitive this whole timing thing is. You don't want to put 2 in here at the same time, because that's just too much heat and moisture. You really want it to be dry. That's the whole thing about it, if you want it dry. So we're gonna, here's another tin here. So here's a bigger one, that's good. There you go. All right, so now I'm gonna flip this over because it's getting a little wet. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna change it. We'll get a new one. Yeah, it all depends how many cookies you're gonna be doing. And super hot. So this is, I'm just gonna, I'm kind of running out here. So let's see, we made how many cookies? I don't remember now, but probably about 12, 16. So I'm at the end here. So I'm just gonna make a little beady one. And then it's super hot, remember. And here we go again, turning it. And this one's going to be probably a little one. I'm probably not even going to put a fortune in this one. You don't want to spread it too thin either. And you kind of make sure that it's not too thick in the middle and not too thin in the edges. So it just has to be precise. And the more it sits here while we wait for the other cookies to bake, it'll kind of spread on its own unless your table counter is kind of off and it'll spill. So, all right, so we got that. Okay, so going back to the crackers or the cookies here. So yeah, so now these are starting to just kind of form. And so the other ones are already pretty much formed. So then you can put that in your cookie rack. And if they're not, just leave it here. You can do other things. You can melt your chocolate at this point if you wanted to do something like that. Sprinkles. We were going to do some. Actually, yeah, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do the sesame seeds. Scissors, Kate. Oh, God. Yeah. Your sesame seeds, you want it when the batter is still on your parchment paper. You haven't cooked it yet. Because you want it sticky, and that's when you want the, what's really pretty is the white and the black. And you want it just in the corners. I mean, on the edges. Because you're going to be folding this. So you want it like just like around here on this part of it. Just two sides, that's it. So the white and the black sesame seeds are really impressive when they're cooked. We don't have any black sesame seeds right now, but we have the white one. It's hard to tell because it's just kind of the same color. I put in some sprinkles. So we'll do something like that too. Some colorful, you know, this can be something for birthdays or baby showers. And you don't want to overdo it either. You don't want too much, just a little bit of color. You can be, you know, you can have a theme on it, like red for Valentine's Day, red, green, and white for Christmas, green for, I don't know, St. Patty's Day, I guess. Red, white, and blue for 4th of July. All right, so this is going to have the sprinkles, and doesn't have to be perfect. And remember, it's very hot. Like I said, it's really fun for kids to do this, but I think if they want to get involved in it, they can do the fortunes. They can help you write it down. They can help you put the sprinkles on, but other than that, everything is really super hot. I mean, we're talking about 375 to 400 degrees of an oven with the hot sheet here. They could, you know, they can help you out with, you know, putting it on the rack or something when it's done. But this part of it is really super hot. It's not that bad. I could tolerate it with my fingers because I'm really going really quick here. I didn't need the plastic, but if you have to, these gloves are great for that. They're not gonna make it's not gonna melt or anything. Don't use those latex kind, you know, the like hospital kind. I just think they might put off some kind of taste or something, but I think those will be fine. So how many minutes do we have?
1 minute.
1 minute. And that was at 8 minutes. So
Yes.
at this point, like I said, we're getting to that happy spot where we're figuring out finally that's kind of our temperature and kind of our time to where, you know, it kind of nice and brown at the ends. But like I said, it almost took us a whole batch to do. So I was doing this earlier on, And I kind of got the feel for it, but I kind of wanted to show you too, like, you know, like I said, what something that would be too burnt would look like. And you know, this is still good. You can still eat that. So nothing wrong with it. And it's definitely cooked. You know, you don't want to eat the raw eggs or anything. So this is definitely cooked, and you can eat it. Doesn't look pretty, but who cares, right? It tastes good. So so we have a couple more. I'm just gonna put the rest here. All right, so there goes our beautiful. Here we go. So yeah, now it's starting to look better. Hot, very hot, very hot. So I got all my tools here. And you can see it's starting to fold a little bit. My paper, oops, I'm doing it wrong. Here we go. You kind of want to do this first. You want to peel them off first because once they get too hot on the pan there, it's going to get really hard for them to take off. So this is great, just like this. In there. Yeah, the more you handle it, the hotter it will get. So you have to work really fast. And they tend to want to open up, so you can just start, you know, squishing them back to their form. Oh, that one got a little too big. Ooh, hot, hot. All right, so here we go. All right, so we're done with this one. I'm gonna put it off to the side here so I don't burn myself. Okay. So they do start, some of them do want to open up. See that? So just kind of push them back in there. They'll have more time to dry and get really nice and crunchy. That's what you want, is the crunchiness to it. So we are gonna put it all together here. It's really fast. But like I said, it's so quick to put together the ingredients, the batter, and it's so fast to do all of this, but the waiting time, you know, it's like 4 cookies for every 8 minutes. So you gotta calculate all that. So, you know, you blow an hour or so for probably about, you know, 14 to 16 cookies. That's kind of the time frame. But like I said, in between that, like for me, I've been talking, kind of showing you all this, but in between, you know, you have 8 minutes to kind of do other things if you wanted to decorate it. They do have templates out there for little cute Chinese takeout boxes. So that's kind of fun that if you wanted somebody to, a child to help you with that, you could do some cutouts of that and put it together. You can actually put those boxes together and put your fortune cookie in there and leave it. And it's got its nice airflow in there and it's dry. So don't put them in a plastic bag yet. Give it like maybe a couple of hours, like 4 hours at least, I would think. And don't put them in the refrigerator. Don't do any of that. Let them really air dry and really crunched up and crunchy and really nice and dry. So with that, let me bring the other ones here. Okay, here. All this. And it's good to have a timer too, or your phone. That's what we were using. Okay. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it's pretty crunchy. So I just kind of wanted to show you, like, that's pretty crunchy right there. It could be a little bit more, that crunchy. If you find yourself having some that are way too thick and undercooked, I suggest put them inside your tin muffin and put them in the oven, but make sure the oven is on a very, very low heat. Like walk away from your oven when you're done and turn it off, right? And in a couple hours or maybe an hour, depending on your oven, like this, it's in the pilot like this, it's a gas, so it's constantly hot in there. It's probably, I don't know, if I was to say, I would put it at a 200 in a regular oven, about 200, just put it in there for about 15 minutes, and that will dry it out a little bit more and keep its form. And then you could take it out and put it in the rack, or leave it into the tin muffin and let it cool that way. It's just basically removing all of the excess liquids in here, and it'll make it more crunchy. If you find yourself like the next day they're still that way, couple options, like I said, put it back in the oven and let it air dry. So the mistakes on a lot of these is the batter is too thick and not spread out enough. The timing is either too long, then it burns, or it's not long enough. And then you got to work really quick. You can't sit there and dilly-dally. You got to really work and fold that sucker, because it will, dry it up, and then you can't fold it anymore. Then you end up with just these flat ones like this. You can eat it, but it's not pretty. So that's the basics of the fortune cookies. You can add the sprinkles. Here's some with sprinkles. I don't know if you can see that. I just did a couple just to show. This one is, I think I folded it wrong. I was in a hurry. So keep in mind with all of that too, when you do start folding and you have some kind of sprinkles or something, to which direction you're doing it, if you want it to be really perfect. So like I said, I would just leave this in the tin pan and walk away, clean up, whatever. Let your oven rest a little bit and cool down. And if you want more of it to dry up, put it in there at about 200, say, and about 15 minutes, keep an eye on it, and then take it out again and walk away from it. And if you're not going to instantly eat it right away, you can if it's, once it starts to your satisfaction, and if you did it right, it's nice and crunchy, then you can go ahead and eat it. But I suggest just kind of letting it sit for a little bit and resting. So anybody have any questions? I'm looking up there too because there's another monitor, so I'll keep my eyes over here so it doesn't get confusing. Does anybody have any questions? Would you guys like to try all this? It's pretty simple enough. So we'll open it up for questions if you have any. Go ahead.
Hi, I was wondering if you can use gluten-free flour.
I have not tried it. There is a recipe out there, I'm pretty sure. For the recipe, just like in any baking, the consistency has to be correct. I would play around with that because I think you do really need some gluten in this, just a little bit of gluten, yeah. There are some recipes out there that may call for that. I've never done it before. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you. This was great.
Thanks.
I was wondering if you had ever tried dipping them in chocolate.
Yeah. So you want to make sure you leave it dry and very crunchy and complete. So like for example, this one here, you want to make sure your paper is obviously nice and tucked in there. That's why I like to do it. I like to cover it, or fold it in half, so then it's really in there. Otherwise, you'll get chocolate on it, which is fine too, because the chocolate that you'll be using is the kind that hardens. So once you're done with your cookies and you're happy and everything is good and dry, you just melt it. And a lot of people just do half of it, just dip it half and then put it in their tray, in their rack here, and then let that cool. So yeah, you could definitely do something like that. But I wouldn't refrigerate it. That's the only thing. You can't refrigerate it like some of those chocolates that you want hardened. They call for putting it in the refrigerator. unfortunately this won't. So you kind of have to just let it sit in its wrap. So hope that answers that.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions afterwards you forgot, just ask Kate and she can definitely forward it to me. Like I said, just keep trying to do it. I had a lot of mishaps too. I mean, I wasn't happy with some of them just because, like I said, it took me a while for an oven. This would be for me new, you know, doing it in someone else's oven and kitchen and such. But take a while for, you know, practice it. And these are still edible. I mean, these still has the nice sugars and it's still edible. And so, you know, keep trying. And like I said, these are very inexpensive ingredients. You can have this stuff that you have in your pantry anyway, and it's not going to break the bank if you mess up the first time. But once you keep doing it and you study your, you know, the timer and everything. So here's the one with the sprinkles. Kind of too late now, but we'll just kind of. Some of the sprinkles are not made equal. Some sprinkles, they kind of melt. I noticed this one, I'm not familiar with this sprinkle, but this one kind of has a little bit of melting, you know, to it. So I know you can get this might be some kind of sprinkle that doesn't require heat or you can't put it in heat. See, now I waited too long, right? So now I'm kind of flexing that funny. But if you're okay with homemade, you know, cookies and you have control of the ingredients, and this is a great way to do your Chinese takeout and have your add-on. And since we're doing a lot of takeouts lately, this is kind of just an extra fun perk, you know, just to, you know, it's a happy thing. So keep doing it. So if you guys have any questions, then we're good to go here. So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
All right, we'll see ya.
Thank you.
Thanks.